In what many may have described as a surprise and drastic move, the Central Bank of Nigeria last week announced a redesigning of the Naira. The affected denominations are the 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes. The CBN says the new notes will be released for public use on December the 15th and will circulate together with old notes until January the 31st, 2023, when the old notes will be phased out. Governor of the Apex Bank says the move is to help take control of the money in circulation, which will in turn curb rising inflation. According to Mr. Emefiele, phasing out old notes will render useless huge amounts of raw cash in the hands of politicians, kidnappers, and terrorists. Well, we have in the studio Chairman Ikeja District Society of ICANN, Sheson Okwade. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Uncle Sir.
And joining us via Zoom is the MD CEO at Taros Capital, Taros Oil and Gas Limited, Nemeka Obiariri. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thanks for having me.
Right. Now, one of the reasons the CBN says it is, going ahead with this policy is to address the monies in circulation. It says about 85% of the monies in circulation is outside the bank vault. And one is wondering how and why.
Okay, thank you for having me once more. Basically, if we listened keenly and attentively to the presentation by the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, it is very clear that 2.7 trillion naira out of the 3.2 trillion naira cash in circulation are outside the banking industry. And if you look also intensely at the breakdown, over 75% of these are high denominational currencies like the 200, the 500 and 1,000 naira notes. If you are to break down this number in terms of the value using the CBN exchange rate, we're talking about $6.1 billion worth of naira currency outside the banking industry. This is not good for an economy that is the nature of Nigeria. Now, I'll explain to you the implications. Some people have made this argument that 3.2 trillion naira is an insignificant portion when you compare to the liquidity in the financial system, which is about 49 trillion. Some people have also made this argument that it does not make any meaning what CBN has to do. But I will explain to you why it makes loads of meaning. Most of this cash, naira cash, are in the hand of political elites, in the hand of those who kidnappers, in the hand of bandits, in the hand of people who do not mean Nigeria well. For any CBN governor or CBN to be able to creditably manage monetary policy and foreign exchange programs, there must be checks on the kind of volume of money out there. You have seen, as expected, the implication on the money outside the banking system. I will break it down. Naira, a dollar equivalent of that money is about $6.9 billion. What basically we have been seeing in Nigeria is that most political office holders, those who are involved in corruption and graft with their private sector fronts, normally once they receive the FAC and the JAC, they dissolve it, award contract. They are paid cash and they hide most of these monies under their basement, under their soccer place, under whatever cash they can provide for themselves. And every month, if you just watch the trajectory, they will use these monies to pursue the few dollars in circulation. That is why you see the dollar ramping up. Most of the dollar, the version of Naira, is not hinged on transactional purposes. They use the Naira to pursue the dollar at all costs. Take the dollar and the basement. So what the Central Bank of Nigeria is trying to do is to use one stone to kill three birds. And I will explain. By mopping up this excess Naira outside the banking industry, we'll be achieving three objectives.
Nemeka, are you there? All right. While we are waiting for Nemeka's return, I'd like for you to react to what he has just said in terms of, he was trying to point out that we are going to achieve 3 objectives, though we are yet to get what those 3 objectives were. But you could perhaps give us a highlight of what the objectives of this mopping up would do.
Yeah, I think the first, if we need to start, is going to assist in the area of inflation, to curb inflation. You and I understand that currently the inflation stands at about 20.7, and one of the mechanisms of curbing that is mopping out funds. And like he said, alluding to his point, the funds that are in circulation currently talk in terms of liquidity and not transactional. They are in the hands of very few who cannot benefit you and I. The only time you see a politician spending money is during election. Do they invest the money to build companies? Do they invest the money to set up factories and the likes where an average citizen can benefit? The answer is no. Remember the days when we have snakes swallowing money, monkey coughing out currency, and you ask yourself the question, those money are not beneficiary to an average citizen, because how do citizens benefit from some of these funds? Assuming it's out there in the hands of the people and not within the vault, it's when it's being traded. And how do you trade money? Setting up organization, companies where you and I can work, make ends meet. You know, for everyone that earns salary, about 4 or 5 people are attached to it. And that money goes in trickles like that. So the policy of the government, mopping out some of these funds, will one way or the other curb the issue of inflation that we are facing.
Let's quickly get back to Nemeka Obiareri. Are you there now?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, you are going to give us 3 reasons what this mopping up will do for the government.
Yes.
Yes.
The 3 key reasons, I will enumerate them. 1, it will help us to, most of the bad guys out there, the kidnappers, the bandits, the looters, who have huge cash of Naira under their basement. We have to bring them back into the banking. They will have to bring them back into the banking system, which is very key. 2, we are approaching electioneering dates in February and March. One of the ways in which politicians corrupt our electoral system is through buying of voters' conscience. Buhari's government have done a lot by giving us the beavers, using the 2022 Electoral Act to curb some of the essence of the political players. So the only way they can corrupt the minds of the electorate is to buy their vote. We saw what happened in Osun State, where politicians were, across board, we are given about 50,000 naira per vote. So what the CBN is doing now will help us to allow free and fair election. Free and fair election is not just the absence of ballot snatching. It's not just the absence of corruptly inflating numbers at the ward and the local government areas, collection centers. Free and fair election involves not allowing the over 100 million extreme poor Nigerians for their choices to be corrupted through bribery. So what CBN is doing will go a long way in ensuring free and fair election in 2023. And the third one, which is the most important one, by the time the Central Bank of Nigeria mops up these monies, we have loads of e-channels through which people can operate. It will help a lot in bringing about financial inclusion. And the Central Bank of Nigeria, in their own wisdom, have even gone ahead to forestall what happened in the past, where banks also collude to collect money from criminals and put them in ledger. Central Bank is simply saying every cash that is collected must be put in an account that is properly KYC. In such a way, it will help the DSS, it will help the EFCC, it will help all the security agencies in Nigeria. See, the incidence of insecurity in Nigeria is bad. If you can track the money, you can track the kidnappers, you can track the terrorists, you can track the bandits. One of the reasons why is it as if the UK government or the US government is most efficient in terrorism intelligence tracking is because 99% of monetary transactions in those crimes are done through the electronic channel. You have 2.7 trillion naira out there in cash, equivalent of $6.1 billion using the CBN exchange rate. It's not healthy for Nigeria. If you look at the liquidity in the system, 49 trillion naira, 3.2 trillion may seem insignificant. Yes, in curbing inflation, if you look at the M1, M2, M3, money and all those stuff. But the truth is, In as much as most Nigerians will say, okay, we don't trust the Buhari government, we don't trust the Emefiele government or CBN, I can tell you of a truth. This is a master stroke. A master stroke that will help us to reset our economy. A master stroke that will help us to checkmate insecurity in the land. A master stroke that will help us to protect the integrity of our elections in 2023. In fact, I would even advise the government, the CBN, to go extra mile to get the National Assembly to amend the relevant sections of BOFIA to criminalize use of dollar cash. Nigeria is the only country where dollar cash is used in a local economy that Naira is a local currency indiscriminately. If you have your dollar cash, go and pay it into the bank and have your domiciliary account created. CBN should go for that. You see, you have seen what is happening today. Dollar is today trading at 850. Who are those chasing the dollar with the Naira? The criminal elites. If you look at demographics, 100 million Nigerians live on extreme poverty. 176 million Nigerians, based on NBS record, do not earn more than 6 Naira a day, which is $75 a month, which is $75 a month. These guys are not the ones pursuing the dollar. The ones pursuing the dollar are those who have criminal fronts. There is no honest businessman that will want to sterilize his Naira in dollar when he can use Naira to do business and do huge turnover. The people you see using Naira to change the dollar has already confirmed, which simply shows that the CBN is spot on. CBN and Buhari should go extra mile. I give them kudos to criminalize use of dollar in Nigeria. Make it a punishable offense, jailable without option of fine. Once we can bring all the dollar cash into the banking system, if you want to dash anybody dollar, you want to buy dollar, transfer to DOM accounts. Central Bank is the place that can warehouse the dollar cash. I tell you, if they go ahead and criminalize use of dollar cash in Nigeria, in 3 months, this country will.
Yes, that was some good oratory. But I want you to explain to me whether we have any kind of statistics as to the demographics who have a certain amount of money, and whether we have it, because we have, you mentioned those who have money under their pillowcases and those who have money in their vaults and in their cesspits and all of that. But we also have the informal economy, those people who wrap their money inside their underwear and their, what they call it, there's this layers and layers of cloth under their bosom where they wrap money. Do we have specific statistics, or we are just on a wild goose chase there? How much do you have? Because if the U.S., for instance, hold on. If the U.S. wants to do, or the West want to do a program, what they call it, a policy like this, they will tell you, this is the money we have with politicians. This is what we have with bandits. This is what we have with the Mama Akara. This is what we have, and this is how we are going to do it. This is how do we have it, or we are just saying the 3 trillion naira or 4 trillion naira is in circulation, and it must be the politicians that are holding the money? Do we have the statistics, or we are just on a wild goose chase here?
Some are giving you the statistics. Listen attentively. 100 million Nigerians are under extreme poverty. It simply means they can't even feed. So the issue of those 100 million looking for dollar is out of it. 176 million Nigerians do not earn up to 6,000 naira, more than 6,000 naira a month, which is $75 if you convert it. Some, those ones are not looking for dollar. Some clearly stated, less than 1% of Nigerian population. If you look at the records of NDIC, 99.4% of the accounts in the bank do not have up to 500,000 naira in the account. That's the NDIC record. 99.4% of account holders in the banks do not have up to 500,000 in their account, which is less than $1,000. These guys are not the ones chasing dollar. The people chasing the dollar now, I have explained to you, the Dumota trader, the Alaba trader, is not going to convert his monies in dollar to sterilize it. When he can use to do turnover, he's doing transaction. And do not lose sight of the fact that it's only the 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 that have been redesigned. The 200 naira, the 50 naira, the 20 naira, the ones you're referring to, those in the poverty level, those that do akawo, that tie it under their judge. They are not the ones holding those 1,000 naira notes. Remember that the CBN even mentioned they printed 2.6 billion notes of the high denomination. They all got missing. If you go to Landmark Event Center, if you go to all Wambe parties across the 6 regions of Nigeria, you will see people throwing bundles of 1,000 naira notes. They are the ones that have taken this money out of the system, not the trader in the market, not the people that receive the 10,000 naira trader money.
No, so you have not answered my question. You have not answered my question, Obiari.
I have answered your question, sir.
Hold on.
100 million Nigerians live in extreme poverty.
Hold on. Those people,
6 million Nigerians earn less than $75 a month. These are not the ones pursuing dollar with Naira.
No. How much money is in those people's hands? Who you know they are very poor, but a lot of them. Hold on, let me finish. A lot of them don't have a lot of money, but there are many of them who never have any recourse to the financial system. If they have even they have 2,000 naira or 3,000 naira, if you bring them all together among a population of over 100 million people, you know, we are talking of trillions of naira already. So we need it. What you are doing here, you are extrapolating. You don't really have the statistics. That's what I'm saying. You are extrapolating. Sam, you are guessing.
Sam, I'm not. Sam, listen again. I am not extrapolating. I am giving you facts that are statistics. 100 million Nigerians live in extreme poverty. You cannot dispute that.
Extreme poverty does not mean destitution. Extreme poverty is not destitution. You know that.
You say what?
Extreme poverty is not destitution.
Extreme poverty
it's not destitution.
Income in their hands.
It's not destitution.
Extreme poverty is not destitution. We are looking at
it's not destitution. That's what I'm saying. It's not destitution. We are talking of extreme poverty, which means that if you are extremely poor, it doesn't mean that you don't have. But if you are destitute, it means that you don't have. But what I'm saying is that the extremely poor still have money that they still move around. We don't know how much they have in circulation. I'm saying that you are extrapolating.
Let me come in here. You're trying to be very semantic here. Sam, let me tell you. Anybody that is opposed, most people that are opposed to this CBN policy are those who are protecting the looters and the looters. Let us be factual here. I am giving you the facts. The extreme poor Nigerians do not have extra naira to chase dollar. They are not the ones messing up the system. The extreme poor Nigerians have monies, but the monies they have is not even enough to give them 3 families a day. 176 million Nigerians do not even have enough money to take care of their household needs without begging and other things. Not talking about chasing dollar. Those who are opposing this CBN policy, and I put it to you straight, are either the looters, the apologists of looters, or those who are angry that the CBN policy will call the exercise of their mentors or whatever to be able to buy election votes on that day. What CBN has simply done is to make sure that the integrity of our elections across the 176,000 electoral polling booths are protected. When you cut down on the excess cash in circulation, those thieving politicians will not be able to mobilize million vans to be able to buy the soul of poor Nigerians with 2,000 naira per vote. Protecting the integrity of vote will allow us to elect credible people that will take Nigeria out of the current mess we are in because of the activities of the political bandits. CBN is spot on, Buhari is spot on, and we must give them kudos without missing words.
All right. Nemeka, we have to let you go now, but we must thank you for your contribution on the program. We still have Olusegun Okwade, Chairman, Ikeja District Society of ICANN, discussing the matters of the new CBN policy, addressing the aspect of the 200, 500, and 1,000 naira notes that it wants to redesign in the coming months. And off air, you were asking a question that I want you to ask.
Yes, you know, in the background to what Obiari said, you know, was trying to get him to get the statistics for, you know, how much and where these monies are, because even the CBN has not been able to break that down. But my own question, my other real problem is that are we not going to be going in circles? It is because we have so much informal or informalization of the economy that we have this this huge money in circulation. When they do so in the West, they're actually mopping it out because they want to get fake currencies out of the way. But we are trying to get the real currencies out of the way. Is it not a problem of the management of the economy rather than just the idea of throwing money out? Because we don't have a properly formalized economy. You can mop as much as you want. The money will go back again.
Yeah, Big Sam, I think I will go in line with you that the management of our economy, as we speak, when you look at the two leaders in question currently, we are having an issue. When you look at the Minister of Finance coming in the public to tell you that he's not aware of the issue of changing the currency, tells you there is no handshake between the manager of the fiscal policy and the monetary policy. And these are twins that must work hand in hand. If you want to control inflation, at times you advise the government, the minister, who manage the fiscal policy in such a way to make sure there are excess of government spending in such a way for you to be able to mop out that fund and get those social contracts to an average citizen that needs to benefit from it. But as we speak, there seems to be a disconnect. And when there's a disconnect...
Maybe it's because the CBN man walks to Buhari and tells him, this is what you are going to achieve. And he sees, oh, this looks very interesting. We're going to mop up money. Oh, this is very interesting. He doesn't know anything about economics. So I've called this economist to come and say, okay, discuss with this man. Yes.
I have an understanding of, fine, this looks good. But I'm not an economist. I'm not vast in it. There is an economic think tank of the government. What is their advice on this particular thing? It's not about an individual. And I say that's where the disconnect between the Ministry of Finance and the CBN, who are managing the two critical things that contribute to our economy, the monetary and the fiscal policy, are creating problem for us. In as much as some of the points stated by my friend, Nnameka, could be right, as we speak, we cannot ascertain, statistic-wise, the number of informal sector that are playing around with our money. Even the tax administration are finding it difficult. It's just in current time that you see the tax arm, the FRS, the State Internal Revenue, delving deeper into the informal sector. Because you discover that an informal woman, all he wants is, don't even do cash transfer to me. I need my cash. And he's collecting that cash. He's going home with it. In fact, some of them, I had an experience in Abuja that we visited a filling station and they said their POS is not working. And we said, okay, we need to buy fuel. And they said they have a standby POS guy who will do the transaction. I said, but why don't you do it? Okay, collect the cash. They said, no, you do the transaction and give us the cash. That is part of the cash that we are still talking. That is in circulation. In as much we want to go cashless policy, what are the measures that we are putting in place to make sure that that policy stands the test of time? An average woman in the informal sector still don't believe in the financial transaction that we carry out, POS, transfer. In fact, most of them, because of the failure of alert when you transfer, will tell you, I don't want transfer.
I want my money.
Give me my cash. And I think area the CBN needs to work on is to improve the confidence of an average person in the banking system in such a way that even if there is a reversal of transaction from a transfer that is made to you, the policy states that that thing, you must report it within 48 hours. How many of such reversal are treated? We've seen instances where for 1 month, 2 months, those things are there hanging. You go to ATM, they debit you, you don't get the cash. And you go back to the bank, they tell you it's not my bank, it's your bank. These are some of the things that are actually making an average individual to lose that confidence in the financial sector. And that is an area I feel CBN needs to work on in such a way that I should be comfortable for you and I to transact business. It's the elites. And even the elites are doubting themselves now. Because there are fictitious transfer that are being carried out. There are fictitious transfer. You get the alert, but the money didn't go anywhere. You understand? So that is an area I feel, in as much as this is a good direction good concept, good policy, but CBN must look inward to make sure that we build the confidence of an average person in the banking system so that we will be able to track. If I need to do a transaction with you, I don't need to go around with cash. And Elliot will tell you that currently I don't go around with cash, but there are still places you get to. Most especially the informal sector, they don't believe in it. They have a standby POS by their side, but that money don't go into their account. It go into somebody's account, and they give you the cash. That's money is cash in circulation. So I want to advise CBN should go about the banks and allow them to improve. Fine, we are increasing the level of financial inclusion. How far have we gone? The last report I read about this Naira, CBN came and said in the last 1 year they've been able to do 8 billion.
Yes.
What is the value of 8 billion with the level of transaction that we have? I expected that Naira would be the game changer. But how many of the people are using it? How many of the government agencies are actually, if you are saying 8 billion in a year, that's just a contract awarded by one agency of the arm of the government. It's to tell you that you are preaching that gospel. You are not utilizing it the way it should be. We should by now be seeing instances where we'll be talking of hundreds of billions in the area of Naira. Because it's so convenient by what they said, bring your barcode, I do the transfer.
You haven't tried it?
I tried registering after having one or two failures. I could not reach my banker to put that in place. So as I speak, I'm on national TV. I've not been able to use the Naira. But I've had friends that said after so much, persistent, calls and follow-up, they are able to. But I asked the question, how much transaction have you been able to carry out? Naira would have been another game changer on the path of. It's not enough for us to always bring out this good initiative without following down the coming to tell us that within 1 year, 8 billion. With the level of transaction that we have in the country, with the MDAs and the people, we should have so much.
So are you confident that with the experiences you've had with the Naira and all of that, are you confident that this will improve on the economy, the status of the Naira as it is? Because that is one of the positives the CBN is saying we will achieve with this move that it is making. And we will see that economic growth that we are looking for with this decision by the government.
Well, let me sound a bit pessimistic that I don't see the light behind the tunnel. It's a good initiative. And why do I say this? As we speak, just within 2 days, it's in the public domain. You saw the foreign exchange jumped up from 740 to 800.
Yes.
And that's an area where I support Nemeka on this aspect of saying, are we criminalizing the spending of foreign currency as against our own denomination? The answer is no. An average person who has looted funds believes that he can convert to foreign exchange and give it to an ordinary man. I see people saying $1 and they are like holding dollar as if they are holding gold. It's because, and the question is, why do you need to share or give somebody $1? But because you want to win the mentality of an average person who you have actually pushed to poverty. Some people don't know the difference between $100 that they are just giving them 800 Naira. It's as if you are giving them 1 million with that dollar that you are giving to them. It's a mentality issue. That must be, until we criminalize that. I've seen instances.
It's a question of value. Because, when I was at the university, in the University of Toronto, I did give credit to my professor, Redesign, introduced me to one book called The Great Transformation by Carl Pauline. We try to explain that there's a difference between economy and society. That the economy is on its own, society is more important than the economy. So sometimes we think that the problem to every economic issue has to be done by an economist. But then you have to think of the society first.
Side of it.
Look at you. Normally, $1 could be 800 Naira or 750 or something like that. But the society, because of its values, thinks that the dollar is even 1 million Naira. because of the values of society. That is why I'm trying to segue into this question of, we all think that, you know, some people think that this issue will actually deal with the politician. But they forget that the politician is the cleverest part of the Nigerian society.
Yeah.
That they will get the way out of it, and the economy will suffer the most for it. That's why some people are saying maybe this is not the right timing for it, that maybe we should do it after the elections. That the economy, the politician, all he needs to do, and he has window between now and end of January. He has window between now and end of January to do whatever they want. In fact, they can even get all the new dollars, all the new Naira out, the new currency out, and get the old ones in, and nothing has changed. And they can line up billions, even billions and billions and billions into the bureau de changes and get their dollar. And then the dollar will keep, the demand for dollar will become high, and the value of the dollar will go up. So what we have in the finalized society has outsmarted economy, as outsmarted economies. So what Emefiele is doing is probably to even hit up the quality, hit up the value of the dollar.
Well, in one side,
yes,
if you look at it, he's trying to hit up the system. Like you said, an average politician, or even the so-called bandits and kidnappers, they outsmart even the so-called elites at times in the way they carry out their operation. And if you look at this area of you changing currency at this time, fine, it is good. But we must go back to the drawing board of making sure that an average citizen have a buy-in into the banking operation.
That's what I'm talking about, the formalization of the economy.
Willingly. It's just like the inclusion of an average informal person into the payment of tax. Take, for example, in Lagos, there is this consciousness. Because there is improving social contract, you are able to win the heart of an average citizen that you should pay your tax. It's settled. What is the gain for a market woman out there that rather than collecting cash, this is the incentive you are bound to enjoy if you allow that transaction to go into your account. Majority of them, they have huge amount of money, go to Okeare, go to Alaba market, but they do their transaction cash. Not even following the people moves million. That's one. Even some of the transactions that do occur within the government agency, are they done via the electronic media? The answer is no. Mine is that I support your view. We must not just, that's why at times we come and I'll say, it's not to come and talk technicality. Let's talk the moral side of some of this thing. Our society needs to be re-engineered in such a way that an average person knows the game. Most especially, not the elite alone. What is the percentage of elite in what we're saying here? Is the informal people that drives it. Do you know the number of billions that go into markets like Alaba?
No. We mentioned Alaba, but didn't know that there's a lot of a former Naira moving around
that particular places on daily basis. The woman that is selling something by the roadside, you'll be shocked at the thousands that they gather on daily basis. When you go to some places to even eat food, they will tell you it is about cash.
Yes.
You eat food of about 2,500. Imagine if 100 people comes there a day. There is no transfer. There is no POS. It's about cash. You are not even thinking of the security. But we preaches all the time cashless policy. How much of it have we driven? That's why I feel it's good. If the target is towards bandits and all those things, but we should work on the society itself, one. Work on the banking operation in such a way that an average citizen knows the game of banking. People take their money to bank. They will tell you, an average market woman, man, why are you not taking the money? He says it's easier for me to load the money. When I give them the money, when it's time for me to withdraw it, there are always bottlenecks. How much have we done in terms of bankers to convince these information?
There's this story here that says that data obtained, this is in Punch today, it's data obtained from annual reports from the Currency Operations Department of the CBN between 2016 and 2020 show that the Apex Bank destroyed multilated worth Naira worth 4.1 trillion. Okay. And then they say it cost them trillions also to change the currency. So are we throwing money to
quickly, in seconds?
Just
In
one
seconds,
sentence.
1 second.
Yeah, well, the pattern note is that the current redesigning
Right.
is good for the reason that you've stated, but CBN should go all out to make sure that the bankers create more,
We have to.
incentives that will encourage all of us to have that financial inclusion in
Right.
We have to
transacting things.
let's go the conversation here now. We must thank you, Chairman, Ikeja District Society of ICANN, Sheson Okwandi, for your time.
Thank you
on the
Thank you
program.
very much.
Right.